everyone. I'm Sucharitha, and as she just mentioned, I also teach grade 11 and 12 in an ISC school. This is at Nagramura. And I see that most of y'all are students over here. How many of y'all are actually practicing psychologists? Good, thank you. I wanted a mix of both. Okay. So I would say good afternoon. We are past 12, and I won't delay you for your lunch. I'll try to make it as fast and quick as we can.
Don't make it every also.
Okay. Early I don't think so, because I think there will be, as long as you're asking questions, it will keep going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So when Sir first gave me this topic of marital challenges of infidelity, career conflict, financial stress, social media, it was like not one topic. It was like all topics put in one basket. So, and also he said that we would want to look at what are the current or the emerging trends in couple counseling. So I would be looking at what are some of the therapies that we are currently using in clinical practice while dealing with clients who present with infidelity, career conflict, financial stress, and social media. Okay, so the objectives for me would be to identify, recognize 4 of these 4 modern marital stresses. Do you think so these are new to the couple counseling arena? Are these new? Infidelity has been ancient. But then we have a new dimension, which is online infidelity. So apart from physical, emotional, there's also online infidelity. So we are going to examine that, and we are also going to assess how these marital stressors kind of interlock in Indian couples. So most of these studies that we do, or we kind of follow as these models, are coming from the West. So I would also like to look at, there is a huge Western influence on modern youth, and how these kind of play a role in. So I would also look at a few assessments that I would be showing you all. And most importantly, the intervention frameworks. So I would also look at how we can change some of these and look through these frameworks. And finally, how do we create a meaningful space for conflict resolution and mutual growth, not just for us as therapists, but also for the clients. So hope we reach our objectives of recognizing, examining, assessing, creating, as well as helping our clients and ourselves. Okay, so here we are. So what is your understanding of infidelity? Can anyone?
Relating to another person.
Okay. Yeah. So we are talking about the institution of marriage. In an institution of marriage, how many people should be there?
2 families.
2. At the most 2 families, as you all also kind of said, because we are from not an individualistic society, we are more from a collectivist society where we are having families completely involved in our lives. When there is space for 2, the presence of a third person, it kind of becomes, if there's a place for 2 people to sit, and a third person sits, what happens to the marriage? I think I still remember when Princess Diana had very famously said that there are 3, it's become crowded. Right? So we are going to look at, now when we are looking at infidelity, it is like crossing the boundaries of marriage, because marriage is only for 2 people, and here we have more than 2 people. So the boundaries of what is closeness to 2 people is now shared with another person, and that's where it could be infidelity of the physical type, emotional type. We'll also look at online, and typically these days, how many of you all have these things? where you're seeing clients. Just a minute. Okay, this is a quick quiz so that you don't fall off sleep. How common are these in your settings? Where 1 is rare and 5 is very common. Those who are already practicing, can you just tell me, like, couples arguing about money? How often do you all see this?
Very common.
Very common. Okay. Couples are anxious about phones and social media. Rarely? Common? They would bring chats. Right? Very common these days. Okay. Family, balancing work, family, and the stress of it. He didn't do this, she didn't do this. Right? I'm expected to do a lot of these things. She's not available. Right? So we do look at, and the shift works. One works in the night shift, one works in the morning shift. Right? Very typically these things also are there. So this is becoming a very common thing which was not there previously, either from our Indian model system or from the Western models. Then, suspected or disclosed infidelity. How many of them present in your clinics? How common are they? Very common. But when they come, they are talking about family stress, they're talking about phones, presence on social media, jealousy because of somebody getting too many likes and the other person not getting it, so there's digital jealousy that has come up. But later it comes to the portion of infidelity. Sometimes infidelity they do not come with that in the first session itself. They present it a little later. Okay. So here we are going to look at what is financial stress and financial infidelity. How many of you all come across financial infidelity in your sessions? Where the person does not disclose their credit card bills, do not tell about their shopping sprees, their debts. After marriage, they tend to understand that the person has a huge debt, or there are too many credit card bills that are coming up. So we kind of look at all these things. Most importantly, the current trend, especially when we are looking at Gen Z and the current generation who are coming up for counseling, the social media related jealousy, snooping into one partner's phone. Now is it like crossing boundaries? I don't want somebody to touch my phone, but then whatever I'm doing there, that kind of causes a lot of insecurity to my partner. And technoference, what is that? Yeah, technology interfering into my personal life. Okay, so we'll look into those. So in clinical practice, we typically are using a lot of EFT. Sue Johnson, one of the pioneers of this, a Canadian, kind of has focused on the attachment-based needs. So very clearly, like what ma'am just explained about our attachment styles, both are the parenting styles reflecting in the attachment of the child towards the parent, and they either internalizing it and seeing that their unmet emotional needs from childhood replaying in their adult life. So it's almost like the traumas of their childhood becoming dramas of their adulthood. Right? So needing security, needing validation, needing or the lack of the emotional needs being met, looking for the repair in an adult relationship. So like when ma'am just asked one of the audience a question like, why are there these divorce rates more? I think when they married them as children, they expected them to be children, but now we are marrying as adults with still traumas of childhood, right? So in infidelity repair and rebuilding trust, there is a lot of EFT that we are using, right? A brilliant therapy. I often use it, where we kind of look into what are these emotions that they are not able to talk about. If we are able to like pin on these emotions, going back to Paul Ekman and the way how he has identified emotions as sad, bad, mad, glad, scared, we kind of look at what are these emotions that are holding up from them to have a more intimate and a fulfilling marital life. If they are already grieving, there are some personal losses from childhood, if they are held up with those emotions, or in the marital relationship itself, there is a lot of fear. So we kind of identify those core negative emotions and also some of the positive emotions, and then we try to get them to relate to each other. This is what we kind of do. And also in infidelity, we look at the attachments. Why is there an attachment with a third person? What is it that is being served in that relationship which is not being served in this relationship? Of course, when we are talking about these, we are also not going to particularly look at personality disorders or substance abuse, because that will become another aspect. We are looking at people who are having difficulties in forming attachment with each other and having certain core emotions which are not getting fulfilled in these adult relationships. We make them realize that they have entered into a marital relationship as adults. Some of them, I'll come back to that again. I kind of don't only do emotion-focused therapy, I also blend it with another one. I'll come to that. So there is integrative behavioral couple therapy. This combines behavioral skills training. Now this is mostly done as skills training. Like some couple are not skilled either in communication, they are not skilled in budgeting, right? They are not skilled in certain household chores. So we kind of look at how we accept the other person, and then we also look at how these skills can help in problem solving, and not everybody can actually pick up those skills. When they are not able to pick up skills, how do we accept them? Okay, where do one person like raise the bar and where the other person kind of follows through? So this is effective for marital distress, financial conflict, especially in financial conflict, these behavioral skills kind of help. Okay, when they have rigid positions about money rules. Okay, CBT, yes, it helps. Again, for problem solving deficits, and also used for career stress related conflict and poor communication. CBT personally, I would also like, my thing would be an eclectic integrative therapy where I kind of look at all three of them. Don't particularly like, we start off with understanding what emotions are missing in this relationship, what are their attachment styles, and then move on into looking at their schemas. In a cognitive behavior therapy, we only not look at how they are just emoting and how they are showing their feelings, but behind their feelings, what are their thinking, and behind these thinking, much deeper into their belief system is entrenched a schema that I'm not lovable, I will always be abandoned. What are these fears that are coming up? So we kind of look much deeper, and only cognitive distortions will help us to understand that. So a blend of all these things. Now this is my favorite, the attachment based and narrative based models. This is definitely I would say a boon. It helps actually couples to reframe stories. Most of our issues come because if a person does not reframe their thought process, if they enter into the marriage, most people have expectations in the marriage. I think half the issues come because of the expectations. In narrative therapy, there are three powerful questions that one needs to ask. Okay, so the first question is like, what did this person do for me? Now most of them would like come to therapy expecting to like pour out all their issues and then talk all the negatives about their partner, saying that this person is not cooking, not doing this, or like is back answering, is doing this. If the moment you ask them, tell me 3 things that are good about your spouse, I think that's the place where there is a long silence. Because if you ask them, tell me about the negative things, they will like come up with about 100 of them. One session won't be enough. They will take all the 8 sessions, but they will like still be complaining about their partner. Right? Now, when the person asks, what did this person do for me? It's a self-reflective question where they go home, you give them a worksheet, they sit with it and they try to understand that it's not that this person has not done anything. It's not zero. The person has been doing a few things. And they kind of make a note of it. They move from a point of being a victim, and from a suffering story, their narrative changes. Okay? Then the second powerful question is, what did they actually do? It's not just what I did and what they did. Okay? Initially we start asking like, they also did certain good things. I also contributed to this marriage. I also did certain good things. It's not like I'm the one who's constantly eroding myself, doing everything, and I'm like crying like a victim. So here comes, is my victimhood coming from my childhood traumas? That I expected my partner to like release me from it? Somewhere I kind of make the other person responsible and accountable for my misery. But what is my level of accountability in this story? So you change the narrative from blaming the other person in the marriage, to me helping myself to find that responsibility and accountability. Okay? Now the third question is, what trouble did I cause them? This is the most resistant question, where they will like refuse to like tell anything about their trouble that they caused. But if you have honest couple, if the couple are ready to like work on their relationship, I think they need to be honest about that they also could be causing trouble in the marriage. Okay, so I kind of use the EFT, use CBT, okay, and also the narrative therapy. These are the trending ones or the emerging ones that kind of, okay. Now we go back to the infidelity spectrum. Like most of these therapies do help in it. When you are looking at a concept called infidelity, physical infidelity is about the sexual contact outside marriage. Emotional infidelity is the intense emotional bond with another person. It could be non-sexual, but it's a closeness that they share with another person, which is not exclusive to the wife or the husband. Digital, I think I'm seeing a lot of digital online infidelity in dating couples and a bit of in married couples also, where flirtation, emotional intimacy, the WhatsApp secrecy, and a lot of changing their names, not giving their actual names, already in marriage, and going through their own issues, trying to see if their needs can be met through the dating apps, right? So
these days in news we are seeing cases of people having emotional intimacy with AI. So that also comes on under infidelity.
If they are not able to be vulnerable with their spouses, okay? So the whole point of marriage is you have not just a committed relationship. If you look at Sternberg's model, right, of the 3 things of romantic love, of committed love, and care. If you are like finding it in AI and not in a real person, you're crossing the lines, right? Okay, so here is a case in it. A woman in her mid-30s discovers that her husband has a long-running WhatsApp bond with a colleague, no physical contact, but he's emotionally vulnerable only with this person. She feels betrayed and anxious while he says nothing happened. How many of you all came across something like this? Very typical it is. They kind of say that I didn't do anything. You can look at my chats also. These are very innocent chats. They are like, yeah, we are talking with the other person, but then we don't have. Now, what is the wife missing over here? What pains her?
Emotional connection.
Emotional connection. Lack of emotional.
Attention.
Yep. So again, this can be a very painful one, more than the physical one. It could be a one night, it could be a long-standing physical one, but then when their lines, their attachment, their boundary levels of intimacy, that kind of bothers because a wife or a husband expects that they are the only one and the one with whom the spouse has to be emotionally vulnerable. So it's all about when we are vulnerable, what happens? What happens when we are vulnerable?
We share. We open up.
We share, we open up, what else? Why do we share and open up?
Because we feel like heard.
Awesome. Yeah. Because there is trust that builds. Now, if there is no trust in the marriage, I think it's already going, right? Yeah, downhill. So, as therapists, what are some of the clinical questions that we can ask when a couple present in our clinic? So, what was the emotional climate in the marriage before the affair? What meaning does the affair hold for each partner? What's the meaning for a person who is already victimized in this? That there is so much of trust that she has put in and the trust is broken and she cannot be vulnerable again with this person. What is the meaning for the other person? Friendship? No, something a little deeper. Why do you think somebody else felt a lot more of a connection with a third person than with their spouse? What was that meaning? Unless you get to know that, we would not know what's happening in their own marriage. What boundaries around devices and secrecy feel broken? So one person feels that, never brings the phone, never leaves the phone outside on the table, takes it even to the washroom, never see him leave it. I suspect there is something happening. Right? So, have they actually spoken about this in their marriage? About any rules around digital devices and what they want to do? A lot of them get caught because they would open WhatsApp web and they would forget to close it. And that's where they would get caught because it's all the chats come. Okay? Now, when couple present in the clinic, we kind of look from moralizing and trying to help them with communication patterns at that point of time. We kind of look at what is the meaning of infidelity for both of them. Does one actually think it is as infidelity, like how in the case we met the person says it's harmless, I'm just chatting, that's it, it's nothing to do with it. Whereas the wife feels that it's an emotional transgression. Okay, so when couple disclose infidelity, we do not actually indulge too much into who is guilty, but rather we kind of move into the questions of what did it mean to them, and then about the lack of safety or vulnerability in this marriage. So we asked what did the affair repair or avoid for each of you? What digital boundaries do you both want to renegotiate towards the end of our sessions? Okay, so this helps to move from blame to a process focused on repair and rebuilding trust. Like one couple who presented, the husband kind of felt very attached to another woman because she was more like his mother. So again, the parental attachment to his mom, which he was seeing in another. So he was being a child in that relationship, looking for a parental approval, which was being given by another woman. Whereas the wife was expecting him to be an adult, a grown-up, not physically, emotionally. Okay, so it helps us to move from blame to a process focused on repair and rebuilding trust when you actually help them to understand their roles in the relationship. Okay, move on to another case unit. Both partners work 10 to 12 hours a day. The wife feels emotionally distant and the husband feels unappreciated. They argue about money. But what is the unaddressed issue? What is the unaddressed issue?
They don't actually sit together and
Time.
communication
Time.
is done.
Awesome, time. The real pain is time. Okay, but then couples have time. They kind of argue until morning, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. They come with sunken eyes and they kind of say, we don't have time. They have time to argue. So let's not, that the time is one aspect. There's something else.
Quality of time.
Quality time where they feel cared. So they miss the unaddressed issue over here is like they do not feel care. So in therapy, we kind of realize that they need to have some scheduled time, and they never renegotiated their roles. Like here, the wife is feeling emotionally distant because she is doing both the role of a man and a woman, and here the husband is only like doing or maybe his job kind of gives him a lot more of flexible time, but he feels unappreciated because he's bringing a larger paycheck for the family. He doesn't feel appreciated, right? Okay, so dual career, long hours, all these people working in healthcare, IT, banking, with shift work, they all have these kind of conflicts which often masks that you are not giving me enough time, okay? Or you are not caring enough for me where you do not understand what I am going through. So it kind of strains them, and then they kind of go through emotional neglect, which kind of goes into resentment, and then our four horses come back there, where they're criticizing each other, they show contempt, or they're stonewalling. And so career conflict can also be about the unmet expectations. It's not just about the success or failure. So renegotiating the roles and spending time together is probably what we kind of help them to get through. Okay. Now, once upon a time, it was like a fun fact. When I was doing my research for the workshop, thank you sir, it kind of made me go back to doing quite a bit of research. But then I understood that, you know, whatever we learned as students has like gone through a lot of changes, and though the quality of the papers is something, the language is like depreciated. I did feel that. Coming to the fun fact, around 2005, most psychologists after graduating, they practiced, or 80% of them were into marital counseling. So that shows that, you know, while the institution of marriage seems to be eroding, and I'm also like happy to see quite a few of you who are attending this session and are also practicing into marital therapy. So yeah, these days, as like sir also said, that financial independence, I think it's not about a woman gaining financial independence and fighting over it, but it's about how they have not negotiated their roles, because it's a dual role for her now. That previously it was a role of being a caretaker at home, doing quite a few things throughout the generations. If there is an intergenerational family of in-laws, parents, or the grand-in-laws and her children, so it's like in the same household there would be about 3-4 generations, and it was the task of the woman to like do the caregiving. But now that roles have changed, she also has to go out. Now in that, she has never renegotiated that role, saying that, okay, I will need these two, I will need these additional supports. Nor has the person or the partner or the husband has actually asked that, we need to renegotiate it. So the financial conflict is the top predictor of marital dissatisfaction. I think that is also one of the reasons why they drop out, also saying that therapy is expensive, I'm not going to come, it's eroding my finances. Okay. Now, financial infidelity, this is the, again, the hidden accounts, loans, cards, overspending, secret gifts, and most importantly, it's about comparing themselves with some other couple who are going to Mauritius, who are going here, who are going there. It's like catching up with the Joneses and saying that, why aren't we not spending so much? And constantly a point of criticism and fighting between the couple. So a quick quiz. Those in therapy who are already like practicing, how often do you see couples where one partner hides financial behavior? Rated on a scale of 1 to 5.
4.
Okay, so that means it's quite a prevalent behavior where they are seeing that one of the partners does hide their financial behavior. How comfortable do you feel guiding couples through money talk? The thing is, as a therapist, we are not economists. We can't actually help them to plan budgets and all that. But are we comfortable to ask them those uncomfortable questions about finances. First of all, I need to know my level of comfort with finances. If I have a very difficult, painful relation with money, right, and I don't want to ask those questions, I gloss over, but then this is a very, very important one, right? So you need to know if on that scale of 1 to 5, I have scored less, saying that I'm not comfortable in guiding couples through money talk. I do have some assessment sheets, you all can take them. Okay, so it's about helping couple to understand their relationship with money. If somebody has a relationship with money in such a way that as a child I never got to spend anything, now that I've got so much of money, I want to like splurge. Versus somebody who says like, I grew up in a family where, you know, we lived through people who would call up in the middle of the night, they would ask us to pay loans and all that, so I don't want to spend money like this. So you go back again to like understanding their narratives. Okay? I just hope this video plays, but then does it? Display. Oh yeah. So watch keenly what you're seeing here. Okay.
Can you keep the mic there?
Oh no, there's no audio. No. I don't want them to like talk. As soon as you hear it. This is one of the features that I learned using AI, using Canva, using Gemini, getting the things on this. What's the language? You're still able to follow the language, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because Japanese and Koreans, I think these days, that are nothing on social media. So it's very difficult to get Indian couple. Okay. Now, this is one of the most important things that we as therapists also need to know. What kind of patterns do you see in a couple when they are in conflict? No, I'll pass on the slides to you. Okay, thank you. So what patterns do you see? There is these patterns, a demand withdraw pattern, an emotional flooding, a missed repair attempts, and mutual attack. What do you see? If I were to like go back to that slide, there were three couples that I had shown. What do you see in the first couple? One person is trying to explain, the other person not able to understand, full of emotions, just threw it everything and just ran away. That was emotional flooding for her. And there was this, he was demanding an answer by showing like these bills, now you tell me what are these, and she didn't have an answer, she was like withdrawing from it. So in a couple system there would be a very typical pattern where you would see one person demanding an answer and the other person trying to withdraw from it. Okay? Then there is also emotional flooding, and the last one, there is mutual attaching with the hands going all animated, right? What about the second one where the guy is like already like given up, hopeless in the face, and she was like nonchalant and like continuously attacking him? You kind of see that they were quiet, they were not very agitated couple like the first, and there was no emotional flooding over there, not in the last one. But then she was.
The husband was guilty, ma'am.
Guilty. I think when we do EFT, we kind of really ask them, we don't kind of assume that is guilt. It could be a lot of things. It could be shame. It could be like, there's no point in talking to this woman. She's not going to listen to me. It could be anything. Yeah. Okay. So, you tell me, in your therapy sessions, how do you ask them? Do you regularly ask couples around money, their beliefs around money, Do you ask them about what is their narrative about money? Or do you feel equipped to structure a money talk conversation with them? Those of you who are still in the learning phase, please do understand that these are also some of the important things that you might actually have to sit with your couple and get them to talk. Okay? And often when couple actually turn the financial stress into global blame, it is not just initially they would start off with saying that he doesn't give me enough money, or she doesn't tell me about her expenditure and all that, and it kind of goes off into a lot of things rather than just say, hey, I would want you to be a lot more transparent about where you're spending. Or we had intended to buy a flat, right? So what is your share of contribution to it? They could actually sit and talk about it, but it kind of goes off into blaming that you are this spendthrift person, you are this cheapo who doesn't want to give money. So it kind of goes into those areas. Okay, now here we go. This is the most trending one, the social media, digital trust and technoference. So far we have covered a bit about infidelity, we have covered a bit about financial crisis and also the career work conflict. Here we go into social media, digital trust, jealousy about likes, about DMs, about ex-partner interactions often kind of makes the person feel lonely in the marriage. When a person feels lonely in the marriage, they kind of would go into snooping, phone checking, and also seeing whether their partner is waking up in the middle of the night, and the other person also says, you go to bed early, I'll come later. And then they are into late night texting. This is what is about digital trust and lack of it. Okay? And reduced presence at home, emotional presence. They are more with the gadgets. I think this is what we are seeing. A lot of people say that he or she spends more time on Instagram rather than with me. They are always observing reels. Couples communicate with each other through reels these days. Please do not open any of the reels that they send you, because your whole, your history will start getting flooded with those chats. Okay, now, so what is digital trust? It's the ability to talk about uncomfortable digital behaviors without escalation. How do you think one can talk about it? I don't want you to see the phone. If somebody says, I don't want you to see the phone, it is not going to happen like that. We have to see who can see what and what is okay and what is not okay. I'll just give you quickly. So this is a mini assessment. Okay. So this is about digital jealousy. Do you think this is just digital jealousy or lack of boundaries? A person snooping into their partner's phone. Do you think that is lack of boundaries? Right? If you look into those individual questions, it's mostly both. It is digital jealousy for one person, right? That is making them snoop into their partner's boundaries, and it's also because they do not respect boundaries. Okay? So these are some of the takeaways from my session. So you need to routinely ask your clients about any secret accounts, late night texting, social media jealousy, when you're taking about their marital distress history. And the phases would be about first stabilization. So you kind of, this is mostly in terms of infidelity, where you stop the affair that is going on. You ask them if they are ready to give it up. Okay, so you stabilize that and then start with the emotional first aid. You then explore why the affair happened and what was missing in the marriage, then recommit and then set boundaries for rules for devices, trust building, whatever chores that they have to do, all these things. And then you link work, family and finance. So you can use certain structured protocols, which are called the budget sessions for you. So here it is, the boundaries in your marriage. So you kind of list out what is it, the hours and the time that they spend, the number of, the decisions on money, all these things. what you agree on and what is okay, and what we agree on what is not okay. So these are some of the things that you can use it. There is a digital trust scale which you can very quickly give them. So as a couple, they can rate on this that, do they discuss these kind of online interaction? Does it feel safe to either of them? So one of them says, no, I do not feel safe with it. They can always mark on it and then they can discuss about it. So we know each other's main social media account. Are they comfortable in sharing with it? Not comfortable in sharing with it. And then we talk if one of us feels uncomfortable about the other's online behavior. If somebody is like simply clicking on another woman's, correct, and sending heart emojis. That was one of the things that my clients kind of asked. She said like, okay, you can comment, you can like say good and all that, but please do not send heart emojis. And we respect each other's need for privacy without being secretive. Right? If you all can assess these things and you can give it to your clients, I think you have brought in emotional safety and repair. This also is something that you can give to your clients, where you kind of say that, how safe do they feel in a relationship. End of the thing, marital distress is because of they not feeling safe emotionally in the relationship. So after a fight, can they come down and talk? I've seen couples who would like hold on to each other after a fight and then pacify the other person, give a tissue, give some water, calm them down. Not just because it's happening here, but then I've met young couples who are being like really, really polite towards the other person, feeling responsible and accountable for the emotional safety of their partner. So we feel safe expressing hurt without being mocked. We can apologize and accept apologies without holding grudges. And we know how to comfort each other when stressed. So if they kind of do the emotional safety and any of them that they haven't marked on it, you kind of like explore a little more with them. Okay? So that brings us to the closure. Thank you for being a great audience, and I'm open for questions if there is some time left for us. Time is there? I got a thing to wind up, so yeah, I rushed through it. So I'm here. Feel free, ask questions.
So, madam, how do we define and differentiate between privacy and secrecy?
If it is not causing any kind of inconvenience to the other person, right? And deliberately they are doing something behind the other person's back, then it is secrecy. I have a right to my privacy when I know that I am not damaging the emotional safety of my partner. So that is where, I say that this is something very private. Like I think in one of the earlier sessions they said like it is I and you, but there is a we, right? So what happens in we is something that they can mutually agree upon. And they say that in this concept of we will allow this, we won't have this. So that is where they only draw those lines. It's a very thin line, but if the person is deliberately lying, is not showing when asked, or like again the other person is snooping to get to know that information, then that is secrecy. Any other questions?
Ma'am, how does the Instagram algorithm influences the relation between either any relationship, either between couple or the marriage or the friends, seeing the reels and expecting the partner to be like that, which they saw in reels, you also to be like that in how does it impact the relationship? How to resolve it?
So the first thing, if a person is it's not about what I want, what I wish that my partner should fulfill in a marriage. If they are an adult, they should know what gives them happiness and what they can do in that relationship. It's not about what you want from the other person. So most often couples come with saying, they say that, you tell me who is right and who is wrong. This is what the other person does. This is what the other person is like. and I don't like. But then see, you can't change the other person. A lot of them come to couples therapy saying that, I don't like this person because of these things, but I do like for these things. Now I want you to change that person. No, the person won't change. So, be it Instagram.
Clarifying the expectation and choices.
Correct. It is mostly about the expectations, and if these expectations are unreasonable, they need to draw the line. So it's about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, what is allowing and what is not allowing. So there goes that thing about control. So if the person is saying oh, on Insta this one is like having such beautiful hair, this one is having such a beautiful figure, so you should not eat more than this. You need to eat this amount of protein. Don't do this. You need to wake up in the morning and do yoga, and then start posting those yoga videos onto their spouse. It kind of feels like, hey, do I have a life of my own, or am I being controlled? So you need to check okay, is this controlling or this is not controlling behavior? The person may have good intentions, but probably the other person doesn't want to do it because there are other areas which are not getting appreciated by them. Or he is giving attention only selectively to those that are not happening. So we go with to be an adult in a relationship. So here is the thing that I kind of clarify with most of my clients, how old they are. Not physically, mentally. Emotionally, they are still at a childlike stage and they are having expectations. They are wishing, they are longing for something to change in their partner. Squash them off early itself, saying that they are not going to happen. You need to accept, but then there are boundaries as we are talking. So what are acceptable and not acceptable? What can be negotiable and non-negotiable? Those things you can talk. So other things can, anything, you give finances, you give career conflicts, you give infidelity, all these things, it kind of goes on how adult you are in this relationship. And do not make the other person responsible for your happiness. You pursue your happiness. Any other questions?
Ma'am, can you read the second question from the 3 questions that you mentioned, narrative?
Oh, the narrative ceremony. Yeah, that came a little later. That's why I couldn't put up a slide. And I also thought that, I might be rushing. So, that was handwritten. So it's about, the first question is, what did this person do for me? Not what they should have done. Not what I wish they had done. The second one is, what did they actually do? Oh no, sorry. The second question is, what did I do for them? Not what I intended to do, or not what I wanted to do for them, but what I actually did for them. Okay? And when they actually write it down, it's always much smaller than what they expected. So, what did this person do for me? What did I do for them? And what trouble did I cause them? Their narrative shifts. Their narrative shifts from blaming and accusing to taking accountability. If you want to read a little more about it, this is a Japanese concept somewhere from the 1940s. It's called as something called Naiken. It's a concept from there. But we are using it in narrative therapy. Any more questions? Yeah.
What are the most common leading reasons for long-term marriage breakdowns despite having happy marriage life for decades?
I think it's also about the tolerance levels. After a point of time, they feel a lot more bold with their choices. They do not care about the social things. They feel a little more supported by families. The children would have grown up. Children also would support, and they would say like, enough of this, I can't handle this anymore, let me give it. And also about, for a long time they would have prioritized the relationship, right? And for once they would say like, let me prioritize myself. I'm almost reached to a point where I have fulfilled all the responsibilities, I've done everything, and it's like going beyond repair. I'm done. That's one of the things that I've seen, at least in few couples.
Most of the time, you are not still aware of what is life. So,
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. But then instead of me sitting and moralizing them and telling them what is life, you need to first go into what sort of a life they are living. And for a lot of us, I understand, because they do not understand what life is, they go with whatever the social norms are, or they go with like saying that, okay, we'll go with feminism, we'll go with thisism, we'll go with individualism, we'll go with whatever, right? They kind of hide behind, without their knowledge, they hide behind those to justify what they are doing right. So there's a very famous English saying that either you want to be right or you want to have a relationship. If you want to have a relationship, learn to say, yeah, you're right, I'm not right, and that's it. It solves the issue.
Ma'am, during your presentation, you were telling something about romantic love, real love, I missed that.
Oh, Sternberg's theory. Okay. So Robert Sternberg has come up with this kind of triad theory of love. So kind of calls it as one is empty love, where it's a committed relationship and people are there for the sake of being there without any kind of romantic. Then there is no commitment and only romance, only sex, only kind of passion. That also is not something that There is like a friendship-like love, where they care for the person, they may stay committed, but then they are not intimate with each other. So kind of brings all of that, and he kind of says that to have a healthy relationship, you need to have all of them. So he kind of, on the triangle, he kind of marks each of the apex, and then he kind of, on each side also there is another thing, like this is friendship, this is empty love, and this is more of passionate love. So he kind of marks it. You can read about Sternberg's triadic theory on love, and you kind of get more information.